Welcome to
To
Shade
Shady
and the
in the
City.
City.
I'm your girl Treese.
It's Nels.
And today, y'all, we are here to close out this season of Family or Fiancé. This is season 4, episode 10. And it is Christina and Lamar.
Till dowry do us part.
Now, what's funny is I actually did see this one in the title. They
You
actually did.
did. You
They
see,
did.
she
No,
thought I
but
was
it's
making them
actually
up.
no, but it's actually on like in the title. It says Christina and Lamar till die. But if you look at all the other couples, it's just their name. This is the
I
first
was
one.
able to see them. So wait, so it said it when you watched it?
No, like if you go to like the OWN TV, whatever the website,
Mhm.
and you go to watch the show, it says Christina and Lamar till dowry do us part. But if I were to flip back to last week's episode,
Uh-huh. It
it
doesn't say.
says Janae and Philip. And
Mm.
whoever's before that. They never did that before. That's why I was like, oh, that's weird. Um, but so now we know Nels wasn't lying. They actually do have titles for this
Titles.
for these episodes. But yeah, y'all. So thank you so much, all our family of Fiance Shade Squad. If you have not already, please make sure you hit that like button.
And that subscribe button.
And y'all, let's get into it. And it was therapeutic. Let's get into it and let's get shady. All right, y'all. So we have here behind us Lamar, Christina. Okay. They apparently met at work on her first day. She liked the fact that he was very respectful, just as a person. And he said that he never experienced wanting to get to know someone like he did when he met her. So they started dating in 2016. They had their daughter in 2019. Um, and so he said that
It was a nice little age gap. They met when she
yes,
was
he
19 and he was 27.
well, I was just gonna say she's 25 now, he's 33. Um, so he said that he's not really looking forward to this, getting other people's opinions on his relationship. He could really care less. And she mentions that she thinks that he avoids her family. And he admits, I do, and did. So Christina was, is from Nigeria, Nigerian descent. Her parents are from Nigeria, but she was born in America. And Lamar says that he's had to assimilate to her and her family. And then of course they get to the house, they meet Tracy, and she wants to break down how they met, and that's when they explain the whole work situation. And I guess he was training her. So there was some HR situations going on there.
Right.
And then that's when she finds out about their ages as well. So her parents want Lamar to accept her culture, and he admits that he's not really interested in doing that. So which was so crazy because, and I'm not trying to be funny. I was a little confused when he said that he was like so unreceptive to the culture. Because was it just me, or was like his outfit and what I felt like that looked like a traditional like
It did, but I don't remember him saying he was not receptive to the culture. I think that there's certain parts of the culture he just doesn't understand. But I didn't think he said he
got
was
it. Okay, no,
unreceptive.
I felt like
Yeah, like I know he said he's not a big partier, so they party all the time. He's not really into that, and he doesn't really understand the dowry thing, which for most Americans, I think
yeah.
we it's we know it's a thing, but I think for us, it's like, how do you come up with the figures?
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? And if it's a token of appreciation, shouldn't I show you how much I appreciate you, not you tell me how much to appreciate you? So I think I think that's what it was. But I don't think it's not that he doesn't, want to be a part of the culture. I think he definitely does. He just doesn't understand some parts.
Okay, so Nels summed that up very greatly. And so yeah, basically he says that, like Nell said, he's that way with everybody, not just her family. That's just who he is as a person. So Tracy starts digging in his childhood, and he admits that it's been real rough. He said he grew up dirt poor and was raised by pretty much drug addict parents. He explains that he's been scarred by his parents' addictions, and he even almost what Oh, and admits that, he was almost taken away from his mother at times. His mother did recently pass, and he admits that when it comes to discussing his childhood, he just naturally shuts down. So Tracy admits that, hey, and I said, well, look at Tracy sharing experiences.
Because
Um,
most therapists don't do
just
that.
won't do that. That's why I said, that's why I clocked it. So Tracy admits that she's a foster kid. And she also never wants celebrations, or never wanted, I should say, because it could be triggering for her. She says that, the healing is here, and he's here for healing. So Christina's mom, I want to say it's Alaba. Forgive me if I mispronounce her name.
Oh, okay. I like the way you pronounce that. Girl, I was gonna say Alaba.
That's why I like Alaba. I don't know. It sounds
I,
nicer to me.
mhm.
Um, her dad, Femi, and her best friend, Ajoba or Jayobi,
I think it was
Ajobi,
Ajobi.
Ajobi, yes.
Mhm.
And his aunt Jean is coming. Gotta love good old. Everybody gotta have a good old Aunt Elaine in their
Elaine.
corner.
Same thing.
And when I tell you, she gave me my Aunt Elaine vibe, boy. She'll tell the truth, shame the devil. She could tell you about yourself. Along with his what?
Older brother Shamar.
Oh, mine says along with his daddy and Shamar. I said, when they start inviting four people. Okay. So Christina admits that she has trust issues with Aunt Elaine. She apparently lived with them for a time when she was helping take care of their baby. And so she learned from a phone call from his mama that Aunt Elaine doesn't really like her. And so this made her kick her out the house. And then Tracy tells them, you know, they got to ask questions. They're going to ask some questions. That's the assignment. We already know what it is.
Exactly.
And then Christina just lets Tracy know that basically her parents' blessing means a lot. And if she doesn't get it, she may not get married. And then her best friend is talking about on the way that she thinks that they argue a lot and would like to see them handle situations better. Once the family gets there, um, her family gets there, they basically talk about how Lamar, as soon as the family comes together, he tends to withdraw himself. And so her father makes it clear that, look, you got to learn this culture, or basically you're not ready to marry my daughter. And Aunt Elaine says that when she lived in a home, Christina treated her like a servant. And so she makes it clear that she will never get along with Christina. And I said, oh, is this how we kicking it off?
Mm-hmm. So both of the families got there. They had their family meetings to discuss their concerns, as per usual. At Jovi said that she knows that there's problems in both families, and she knows that there's an issue with Elaine, and she wants things to be smoothed out. Her mom said her concern is the cultural difference, and if he's going to have her hand in marriage, there's rules to follow. You know what she's talking about? She's talking about that dowry. Okay. Um, Her dad said he wants to talk about religion because that's the foundation of life. He said Lamar is very supportive, and said that I want to show him, why he needs God more. Then his brother, I think that's where I got confused because I was thinking Shamar. Okay. So then
Mm.
his brother, Shamar, said his concern is communication. They do a lot of yelling and debating, but not enough listening. And on Elaine, what did it say Aunt Jean? I know it's
Oh,
supposed to say, is there,
oh,
there was,
I was going to say, because the Aunt Jean is the other aunt.
oh, there was an Aunt Jean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So Aunt Jean said tradition, she believes that tradition and culture are very important, and said African Americans also have traditions. And said, I want you to respect their culture and work on learning it, but it's important that you take pride in the family that you have as well. And Elaine said the issue, we know what the issue is with her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she said, when she addressed her as is
The
it Anna?
caretaker, the baby's caretaker.
Wait, is the baby's name Anna? Or is Siri getting
Anya or Anaya. It's Anaya.
Anaya? Okay. That she addressed her as Anaya's caregiver and said that hurt her heart. And they let them know, their task to ask questions. So then Lamar sat down with Christina's family to give them his 5-year plan. Um, he said that he wants to put marriage off to 2 years so that he can learn more about the culture and understand it before getting married.
I actually liked his plan. I actually thought it
Mhm.
was reasonable and feasible.
And probably so he can come up with that money for the dowry,
Mhm.
because clearly that's what's most important.
Okay.
Um, before getting married, because he's uncomfortable with all the parties and celebrations. Um, Christina's dad told him that when he's invited him to come for Christmas, and Christina said, some nasty things to him, he just needs to have power of agreement. I guess just nod and smile. Okay.
I guess that
Um,
what that was because I was like,
that's what it was giving. Like basically go with whatever the hell my daughter says. Okay. At Jovi said that what he's trying to
especially after
say.
she told us how she can be nasty.
Mhm. At Jovi said that what he's trying to say is in the heat of the moment, just be able to take a minute, come back. And he said, yeah, I'm able to do that. Christina's not. Okay. She's the hothead. And the
Okay.
way she explained her daddy is giving that's possibly the case.
Mhm.
Um, so he said, mm, basically, he said that he knows that the family wants Anya to be Christian. And he said that he was raised in a Christian household, but his family um, brought him up to be able to choose whatever religion he would like. And her dad said, okay, well, that's either Muslim or Christianity. And
Okay.
he said, yeah,
She gonna
neither.
believe in something. That's what he said.
But those are not the only religions.
I know, but
And yeah, he told him neither. Absolutely not. He said, then the daddy gonna tell him, well, you're gonna be a Christian eventually.
he said, "I'm gonna baptize you in the name of the
And he
Jesus."
told him, no. And I believe that my beliefs shouldn't be pushed upon my daughter or my wife. And he asked him what it is that they're looking for in this dowry. She said, for you to buy everything that Christina loves, and for the parents, Jamaican yam. She said a lot of catfish, and you got to send it, and you got to, send them some money to send back home. And he's like, well, how much you need to send back home? She said about
Right.
just a good cool 10,000.
But I do appreciate when they explained that a lot of that, or the way they made it seem, a lot of that goes towards the Nigerian wedding. So he's taking care of the wedding here, and it sounds well. He's taking
He's
care
taking
of it. He's taking care of there too, but still, I think that's why because they have to prep. Or I'm trying because I don't understand it. So,
if that's the case, we just only need one wedding in Nigeria. If
what
that's what I'm paying for.
but they don't. That's just not their culture. That's
That is your culture, a Nigerian wedding. You don't worry about my American culture having one here. We'll just do it in Nigeria and say F the wedding here.
well, that's true.
Shoot. And he said, that's a real heavy ask. And basically said that that takes away from their home, and they're preparing to buy houses, to buy houses and start businesses. And, he said that sounds very backwards. So she said, you can't just take a wife for free. That's
Mm,
our culture. And the dad said, 10,000 is actually very cheap. Basically, we ain't asking for too much.
just just deal with our mean daughter. All right.
It's
So
given she ain't worth the 10,000.
okay, Christina is worried about her questions, and so then they get into her religion, and Christina says that she has a weird relationship with religion because she saw how her sister was very active in the church, and how basically they treated her once she got pregnant out of wedlock, and said that she kind of went through the same thing because of course we know they had the baby before obviously they were engaged or married. However, she does feel like she has her own personal relationship with God. So Jean tells her, well, then that's good. That's the foundation. And so they ask her, about this whole dowry situation and where does it go? And Christina explains that it's what the family feels she's worth. And so Elaine asks her, um, and then Elaine, Aunt Elaine, she gonna dig her thing and she won't get her thing off. Okay. So she's like, why when you address elders, you don't give us the same respect? And so Christina says she feels she's always given Aunt Elaine respect. And, you know, until she heard got a call from her sister saying she ain't like her. Um, and Aunt Elaine said, well, I didn't like you because I didn't appreciate being called Anaya's caregiver. And so Christina said, look, you came to live there not because you were Lamar's aunt, but to help care for the baby. And I said, ooh,
Did you see
ooh.
she didn't deny it here,
What?
calling her a caregiver? But
Oh,
she did,
yeah.
but she denied it at the dinner table.
Mm-hmm. And so Aunt Elaine said, as his aunt, she came to help him. That part. And
Exactly.
and so Aunt Jean tries to break down that there might be, might be some cultural differences. And so she explains that, in African American culture over here, what we do is that families help support each other, raise each other, aunts, grandmothers. That's what we do. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, and so, and she said, and at no point do we call them caretakers. And so Christina asked,
Whether they're getting paid or not.
right. And so Christina asked if that's why she didn't like her. Um, but she still says, well, I didn't say that. And so Annie Lane said, look, there were other things going on in your house, all the cursing and the tantrums. And when she called her and told her not, and then she said, and then I was really done when you called me and told me not to come back to your house. I was real hurt. And so Christina is still denying that this happened. And Annie Lane says, you know what? Elaine says, you know what? I know you got a temper and y'all didn't live in that house. So I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go. Cause she's clearly in denial. And I was with Annie Lane. You're not gonna keep playing in my face.
Mhm. So at dinner, everybody wanted to discuss the task, of course. Lamar said that they were discussing religion, and he made it clear that nothing will be forced on his daughter. But the family is more than welcome to take her to church. And if later on in life she decides to choose something other than Christianity, then she is more than welcome to do so. Then they spoke about this dowry. Christina was in shock to find out that it was up to or more than $10,000. Girl, you ain't never asked your parents what the dowry was.
Right.
You ain't never asked what they was
I
expecting.
guess she said, that's just not my problem.
If it's taking money away from your house,
Well, it is, but I don't think she was thinking like that. I think she felt like that's on him.
she said it one look. She said, "Ma, we trying to buy a house."
Right.
Like, I guess she just didn't think it was that much. So yeah, she was basically, her mom was like, yeah, you really want to marry my daughter? There's stuff you need to buy. Okay. And like I said, she said basically you're asking for $10,000 like when you're trying to buy a house. And her dad said, well, after you buy your house, then you can do that. Okay. Run me my money. All right.
Mm.
And his aunt asked if they could explain it, because she said from her understanding it's his responsibility to pay for the dowry and the wedding. And they said there's two different weddings, the traditional and the American. And then the traditional, Lamar has to prepare Christina. So does that mean, oh, and then they said that for the American wedding, Christina's dad is the one who must pay for that. So I guess the dad pays for the American wedding.
Which would make, father the bride. That makes
But
sense.
I mean, you already got 10 stacks. So I couldn't imagine it's going to cost you that much in Nigeria. You're going to take some of that money and put it towards this American wedding.
I don't know. Their weddings be large and in charge. I don't know about that. The amount of people they be having, and they
Yeah,
real,
but they're,
and the dresses and the,
I'm sure they're still cheaper.
I guess.
So he said, buying their clothes, basically Lamar is responsible for buying their clothes, buying everything that they need, and basically, and the dowry, the 10 stacks. So it's not even 10 stacks for real.
Mm-hmm.
Probably about a good 15.
Right.
And Lamar said, you know what? I'm all right with that. Okay. He said he's willing to compromise if that's what makes her family happy. Christina and Ani Lane had a conversation, and said that she's probably hurt the most because she didn't do enough for her. I was like, Christina, where did that come from? Because that's not at all what she said.
I was wondering the
Did you
same
really
thing.
try to?
It was so funny because even when you was reading it, I was like, when did she say that?
I was like, did you really try to flip this lady's words in front of her? Like in with her sitting here?
Real
Elaine said no. Okay. Um, Basically, it was that she didn't respect her as an aunt and only saw her as a caregiver. And Jovi said that she was introduced to her as Lamar's aunt. And Lamar told her, no, you have introduced her multiple times to different people as a
I ain't even
caregiver.
gonna hold you. I'm
None
happy
of
that
them.
he clocked her. He needed to.
I'm happy that he did too. And her mom was like, no, she wouldn't say that. I know her. Ma'am, I'm telling you, I saw your daughter do it.
Okay.
Okay, is what I'm telling you. Um, and really, basically, since she wouldn't admit it, they decided to move on.
As they should
Um, and then Femi and Lamar's aunt Jean were having a conversation. He let her know that his family is from royal lineage. And it was beautiful because, she was just trying to get an understanding. I thought it was pretty dope. Then we see Christina during that conversation. She came and pulled Lamar and told him sometimes his energy is defensive, and says sometimes when he's in a place where he's uncomfortable, basically he makes everybody else feel uncomfortable. He's like, "What you want me to do? Be fake and pretend I'm happy?" And she said, "I don't think that our relationship is going to work if we don't figure out what we're going to do for each other, and how we're going to make each other happy, because that's important moving forward." And he was like, "Okay, well, I guess we ain't going to work out." And she got upset and walked her ass away.
I mean, you can't make that. This is where I have to wonder, like, yeah, y'all might really vibe with each other. And I don't doubt that they probably very do much love each other. But then cultural differences and not even cultural, that to me is more of a personality difference.
I would honestly, even not even the cultural thing, I would have been aggravated that you sitting here lying on my family, and I'm telling you to your face, my nigga, I saw you. You
Right.
did it in front of me, and you're sitting here because I don't know if it's because your family here or what, but like, you're not about to sit up here and make my aunt look like a
Like
liar.
she crazy, right?
Exactly. That alone would have aggravated me.
Yeah, no. So then we see Tracy. They go to see Tracy for day two, and she brings up the obvious tension she feels when they sit down. He's not here for Christina, basically Christina dictating how he feels, and I was kind of with him. Tracy says, your childhood probably made you feel like nothing you did mattered. And she also talks about how fear of abandonment is a thing for people like her and Lamar. So she tries to break it down to Christina and tells her that, basically she needs to be a little bit more gentle with him. This is when we learn that Christina says awful things to hurt him. And now she realizes why this man might feel like she doesn't like him. And so she refers back to a time where he insulted her, and she realized it triggered her because her father is the only person that talks to her that way. Um, and so Tracy tells her, well, that's not okay. And says that the way that you were parented becomes the way that you partner. I said, that's why I love this show. I swear to God. Tracy be dropping some gems. So she instructs them to not call each other names and remember that they're a team. And she also she asked them about the task, or asked Christina rather about the task with Elaine. And Christina admits that she could have handled it better and wanted her to hurt because she was hurt. And so she said, I knew it was selfish. And although I did feel better, I didn't have to hurt her. And so Tracy tells her, well, you need to go back and tell that to Don Elaine. And I said, that's true. So then Tracy also tasked Lamar to go sit down with his family to address his traumas from childhood and how that's playing out in his relationship. And Lamar admits that it's not really something he wants to do because he doesn't want to rehash old wounds. And then he knows it's going to be a, kind of a hard conversation. I think it is so funny because when I was watching it, I was like, oh, I was wondering how it was going to go because he was so reluctant, but I was actually really happy to see
That
how
it
it
went
went.
so well.
And the fact that he was so receptive.
So open. Yeah, he had no problem
Because
talking.
some people can do it and still be like, I'm never doing this shit again. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Or really not even talk.
Right,
I mean,
right,
he was talking, like he was open.
right.
So Christina went and pulled Ani Lane to the side. Ani Lane said that she loves Anaya and said, she was just there to help her. Um, and said, what did she do to be treated like this? Christina said that when she heard that Ani Lane didn't like her, she was hurt and it was a lot of pressure, and said, as a Black career woman trying to start a business, she was already overwhelmed, and said she went out that she that she went about the situation the wrong way, and said it was selfish on her part because she just wanted to protect her peace, and and said, what, I hurt you and I apologize for that. And basically Ani Lane appreciated that. And Christina let her know that, I know you probably feel like you weren't appreciated, but I definitely appreciate you helping us out. And she's probably telling her that because it's like, girl, we might need some more help.
That's
And
what
I
it was
really,
given.
I really ain't trying to beef with you for real. And they're looking forward to rebuilding.
All right. So then we go see Lamar's session with his family. And they sit down with Dr. Allie. And so she asked him how his traumas have affected the way he communicates with Christina. And Lamar says that he feels attacked. And then he normally shuts down. He said that he learned that today and admits that therapy is completely terrifying to him because he thinks that means something is wrong with him. And so I love when Dr. Allie asked him and said, well, what would it mean if something was wrong with you? And so Lamar says to be anything less than what he feels is a scary thought. He says he's fearful of not being the person his family needs him to be. And his brother, Shamar, speaks up and explains that, their mother loved them, but was incapable of, loving them as she should have because of her addiction. And so Lamar gets emotional about how he used to skip school, and his mother never knew that he was just sitting in the park crying all day. Um, and he said that he just felt broken. He wanted to be perfect, and every time he messed up, it just seems like the problem basically multiplied. So Lamar says that, he has a lot of resentment, anger, and depression. And his aunt Jean says that she feels terrible because this is what she does every day with other people's kids because she works for Child Protective Services. I ain't even gonna hold y'all. Y'all know my sensitive ass. I didn't cry. I won't like a good, Kim K cry. I won't an ugly cry. But it was definitely the tears was welling up in my eyes because it had me because I was like, I can only imagine how she feels, like the guilt she feels
Mm-hmm.
if she would have known. And you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But then it's also a double-edged sword because I was like, but it's your own family, like she said. So would you really have turned your sister? You know what I mean?
Mm.
So she apologizes to both of her nephews, and Lamar tells her that it's not her fault and
Or
says he
helped out more, I would think.
right.
He said that they almost got taken. I wouldn't expect her to turn her sister in, but like helped out more. He said
Right.
that they went 4 or 5 days with nobody there.
So um Dr. Ali tells him that his emotions are normal and there's nothing wrong with the way that he feels. He admits that therapy may be the way to go. And he could have let some of this go decades ago, and admits that even just this one conversation was helpful. And so he's made the decision that he plans to continue this moving forward, which I was happy to hear. So then they go back to report to Tracy. Christina talks about how she spoke with Elaine and they plan on, moving and building forward. Lamar said he was able to share things with his family that he wasn't able to express. So that's why I also got to give Aunt Jean some grace. I wonder how much, you know what I mean, of
She
she knew. Yeah. Lamar said that he felt a lot of the weight was lifted in therapy, and Christina said that she even noticed it. She was like, it's just a look in his eye, like he just seems lighter. So they go off to the blessing ceremony and all the family give their blessing. The update is that Lamar is spending more time with Christina's family and has grown closer to her parents. And Christina and Ani Lane have moved forward. Lamar is sending gifts and money for Christina's dowry, and they plan to have a destination wedding in fall 2023.
he said, Daddy, you gonna come out of pocket. He said, look,
Sometimes
if
I think weddings at home are more expensive than destinations.
mm,
So he might actually be windy,
well, yeah,
depending on where they live, and
it depends on where the destination is.
true, but depending on I know from a lot of people that's why they went the destination route because it's so expensive to get a venue and then get all the other stuff you need over here. But yeah, y'all. So y'all drop down in the comments and let us know what you thought about this finale episode of the family or fiance. If you have not already, please make sure you hit the like button.
Make sure you comment.
Make sure that you subscribe.
And you hit the notification bell.
And make sure you're following us on all the platforms. That's the Blue Sky, TikTok, IG, and the Facebook. And yeah, y'all. And we will catch you, I guess, whenever season 5 drop, whenever that'll be. But yeah, we'll catch y'all later. Y'all be good out here. Be safe and happy hump day. Bye-bye.